Welcome back, Tulare fans. Today we're going to go over some common appliance settings. First one is going to be a Manage Appliance Ethernet Interface settings. And this takes us to a few different things we can configure here. First one being our management interface. Here we set an IP address, a subnet mask, and a gateway. Change settings for it to take effect. And then the next option will be our DNS settings. And we'll have primary DNS and secondary DNS and hit the change settings. And below that is our Ethernet interface settings. Now the green here will indicate link up and the red will indicate link down, followed by our MAC address over here, which is going to tell us on a port by port basis what the MAC address is. And the checkbox is whether or not we're auto negotiated. Checkbox in there, a check in there is auto negotiate. Without it, you're hard coded. If you are in auto negotiate, the grayed out section will tell you what you've auto negotiated to. So on this link it's 100 megs full. This one's unknown since we know the link's down, but the next one's gig full. Alright, let's go to manage appliance and then go to date time settings. First up the bat is our NTP server, so we can decide to use that. You can set in either a server address, and if you're using DNS, you can use the DNS address if you so choose. Date time settings and the time zone. Now by default we will use a UTC time zone, which will likely put your time zone off on the logs unless you change this time zone to your own. Okay. Next one's going to be manage appliance and then options. Alright, the first one up is the change web console timeout. Now this is our idle timeout. So if you're idle on the screen, it'll auto log you out within 15 minutes. If that annoys you, you can certainly change it and change it to a different number. This is where you would go to do that. Switch to client console. So we have two consoles, one for the NCN, which allows you to change management and APN configurator, and then we have one for the client, which allows you none of those things. So this is a client that I've disabled because otherwise you won't have access. This option will be grayed out. But it gives you an option to switch to the NCN console and you can switch to it. The reason you would want to do this is when the boxes ship, you may have all your boxes ship as client Tulares. So you need a NCN Tulare, and this is where you would switch that console to create an NCN so you can configure the first box. Revert to factory defaults, and then the reboot after revert to check it. Reboot, you want to just clear everything out.
And regenerate HTTPS certificate. That ensures the security of that. If you feel like your internal network's been compromised, you can regenerate a new certificate and make sure that's secure.
Next one is upload APN config editor. You can upload a newer config editor. And then the last two is only for Tulare support to be led by them. One is straight software load for a backdoor, and then the last is serviceability attributes. Again, highly recommended that this is led by Tulare support personnel. So I hope this was informative for you. I hope you learned a lot, and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.